Gamble, a JUCO transfer, one of 4 starters in his lineup from junior colleges. Salt Lake Community College. Off the fists, 2 balls, 1 strike. Originally from Alpine, Utah. One of 13 juniors on this roster.
Well, it looks unusual to look down the lineup and see only 1 senior playing with the way the portals reshape the game.
Jason Walk getting a lot of attention. 5 Oklahoma Sooners with at least 10 steals on the year. And another Sam Christensen, 8 for 8. Beg your pardon, 6 with more than 10. And Harris falls behind, 3 balls, 1 strike. Oklahoma got off to a great start this year and has won 5 SEC series.
Boy, good off speed right there. And as we said, it's going to be a little tough to see the way those shadows are. So anything that's got a little spin on it will be a little tougher to pick up for the hitters for the first couple of innings.
Yeah, here in Lexington.
Good look at it right there.
Yep. The sun going down right about now. It's a real problem, especially for the outfielders. Luke Lawrence, good stop by the Kentucky second baseman. Runner moves up. And there's 1 out.
Nice play by Luke, but also good piece of hitting there. Knows his job. If he hits the ball in the hole, you're not going to be able to get a double play, potentially get a base hit. Luke has it measured very nicely, and he has played outstanding all year at that second base position.
Now Easton Carmichael leads the team in home runs with 12. And RBI with 49. That may be playable. It is fading. McCoy giving chase. Nope, Souvenir. Carmichael from Prosper, Texas, leads the team in multi-RBI games with 13 and multi-hit games with 16. Getting the start tonight behind the plate, his 47th start either at catcher, DH, or first base. Big hop from McCoy. He'll play it himself, and they're 2 out. And Jason Walk on his way to third base.
Didn't quite commit to that swing. It was probably tough picking up the spin, but looked like he tried to serve it to right, but it just happened to be right at McCoy. James starting to get a little more comfortable over there as he's seeing more time at first base.
He's been a right fielder. Obviously been a pitcher. Well, I say obviously. He's pitched a lot more this year. As Jackson Willits looks at an off-speed pitch. Talking to James before the game, said he's enjoying his time at first base. Said, yeah, it's kind of new. I said, had you ever played that before you got here? He said, nope.
How about a little bit of third base the other night as well?
How about that?
I know he hadn't played much third.
5 third basemen this year for the Wildcats. So many injuries. Two down with a man on third base. OU threatening. Good pitch. As we said, a lot of opportunities, let's put it to you that way, because of injuries to Herrera and Hindle. Caius Gargett has spent a lot of time there. Even Dylan Kuntz, the first baseman, survived the appeal. That's Michael Snover at third base. You be the judge. I could see that.
Bat stayed back. The body went out in front, but it looked like the bat was staying back. Be hard to argue that.
2-2. Didn't miss by much on the inner edge. Now it's full with 2 outs. Alvaro January behind the plate. Alex Ziegler at first, David Savage at second. And there's the first walk of the evening drawn by a team that draws a lot of walks.
And for this youngster, that's kind of been one of the problems this year. He's been able to get ahead of a lot of hitters, but has not been able to put them away or at least induce some soft contact when he gets 2 strikes. He's a young freshman. He's going to get better and better as each year goes by.
Walk number 30 on the year for Willits, 4th on the team, and now Kyle Branch will try to keep it going. A fellow freshman facing the freshman Harris. Out of Lucas, Texas.
Kind of got that little delayed strike zone going, don't we? Kind of
Yep.
like pause in just a second and then whack, throw a little Frank Pulley on him.
Fooled him.
You can tell they can't pick this spin up right now.
Yeah. Bottom fell out of that. And when he committed, it looked like it was going to be belt high. So Harris jumps out 0-2 with 2 men on. Branch will just try to put it in play. Challenge him with heat upstairs. Jason Walk opened the game with an opposite field single. After a couple of ground balls moved him over to third, Willits drew the walk. And Harris has jumped out 0-2. A little too tall, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Branch, one of 12 freshmen on this team.
See if he comes back with that off speed, it's down in the zone, starts about thigh high and then goes down into the zone. Nice little crowd kind of worked its way in here so far.
Yeah, oh, good
Love
crowd.
This. What a day.
Great night here in Lexington.
Season's almost over and the weather's getting great.
Just in time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Branch hangs in there. You saw where Burke set up and Harris delivered.
He's still trying to bury that thing a little bit more. That one up where he could play with it a little, but trying to bury that ball where he gets him out in front, and then it's down, he can't put the bat on it.
Crowd loved that pitch. Plate umpire disagreed as Willits takes second base without a throw. So now they're at second and third with 2 out. And a 2-2 count. And he's run it full again.
After going 0-2, this is a couple of times, so. It's a big game, you know, for both these teams, especially for Kentucky.
Stan Roselle, Kentucky's pitching coach. Another big hop from McCoy, takes it in stride, and Harris wriggles off the hook as Oklahoma leaves 2. After 1/2, Oklahoma scoreless. Now it's Kentucky's turn. There he is, the ace for Oklahoma, and maybe the ace of all aces in the SEC. Kyson Witherspoon, one of 2 twin brothers on this Oklahoma team, and as you can see, rated highly by the experts for the upcoming draft. And he has performed his best as a junior. Look at that strikeout to walk ratio, the whip, microscopic. So is the ERA, it leads the league. The only teams to beat him, Mississippi State and LSU, and in each game, Doug, his teammates could only manage 1 run.
Yeah, if he'd had a little offense, because he pitched well enough to win. It was interesting, you know, you got twin brothers. One pitches on a Friday, one on a Sunday. They mirror each other with their stuff. One maybe a little bit harder, a little throws a little faster than the other, but how cool would that be? you and your brother get to go and you got the weekend and you say, hey, boys, it's all yours. Go
They're
get
both
them.
pretty darn good.
Yep.
Tyler Bell will try to be the first guy to figure things out. As you can see, what a job he's done as a leadoff hitter, reaching 44 of 45 games. Has not been the leadoff batter in every game, but late in the season, this is a lineup upon which Nick Mingione is settled with the young man from Frankfort, Illinois, trying to get things started. And you know a story by now, turned down essentially second round money with Tampa. He and the Rays just couldn't come to an agreement when they took him with the 66th overall pick, the supplemental draft. And he decided, I'm going to college, I'm going to Lexington. And tries to jump on that first pitch at 95, Mr. Flynn.
And that's where he's going to be around most of the evening. But talking to Toby Rowland over, the broadcaster for Oklahoma, he said the poise that he has, and he can pitch in any spot on that strike zone. So what that means is that if he gets ahead, he can throw quality pitches. It's not just right down the middle. As we said early in this ball game, first couple innings might be a little tough to see. As a matter of fact, the ball just thrown back to the pitcher. He had to duck because the sun was right there in his eyes.
Kyson on the Golden Spikes midseason watch list. 9th in the nation in ERA. And you saw Bell trying to jump on those pitches early. You can't blame him.
Boy, he showed a lot of poise for a youngster. Good baseball IQ, plays hard every day. Nobody outworks him. His upside is tremendous.
That's high and deep, but it's staying in the yard. And you saw Jason walk in center field battling the sun. That's going to be an issue for probably 45 minutes to an hour here at Kentucky Proud Park. But boy, Tyler Bell put a charge into it.
Looked like a slider over the middle of the plate. And he puts some really good at-bats most of the time when he gets up there. Wind blowing a little bit out to right, which, you know, I never thought we'd be saying it this much in 1 year, that the wind was blowing to right.
Now Luke Lawrence, transferred in from Illinois State. Second on the team in base knocks with 49. Led Illinois State each of the last 2 years in hitting. And as Doug mentioned, has done a solid job defensively here at Kentucky. Stepping in for Emilian Petrie. And Witherspoon just had to turn his back on the throw coming back from the catcher now.
Yeah. All right, he's throwing it. Oh, got nothing. I got nothing.
No,
Yeah.
can't blame him. And you worry about either team a line drive coming back. But that's where we are right now in Kentucky, where the sun is setting behind the ballpark, not directly behind. Wouldn't that be something? 2 balls, 1 strike now to Luke Lawrence.
That's when they used to, around Kentucky, they say, how far outside of town does he live? Well, the sun sets between here and there.
Lawrence, one of 3 Wildcats who's stolen home this year. Battled a fastball, but right at Jackson Willits at shortstop. 2 outs. Wildcats trying to be aggressive at the plate. But you have to against Kyson Witherspoon. You can't let him settle into a groove, but that's easier said than done.
And you know he's going to be around the plate.
Yep.
So you can feel pretty comfortable that if he misses, that's pretty much done on purpose, but he's going to be around the plate. You just take your chance on getting a pitch you can hit, and that's what they've done so far.
Now Cole Hage, Wildcat left fielder, leads Kentucky in home runs with 10, runs scored. Leads the team in walks with 22. Out of Fargo, North Dakota. Cole got off to a great start, then cooled off a bit of late, has found his groove. And an outstanding defensive left fielder as well.
Trying to throw him break ball, threw him curveball looked like, then back-to-back sliders.
Age 3-time first-team All-Ivy at Columbia before he hit the portal. Talking to Hage about moving from the Ivy League to the SEC, and he said, yeah, you know, I'm paraphrasing, pleased with the way he was playing at Columbia, but he wanted to try to play at a higher level of college ball.
Wow.
Took a little something off.
So we're talking about, got that confidence where he can throw that off speed at any time.
Yep.
Doesn't throw a change. Fastball, curve, slider. Can you imagine when he gets that one in his repertoire, though?
And he survives the appeal. The Wildcats have a base runner with 2 out. And again, you don't see many walks delivered by Witherspoon. That's just number 18 on the year, Doug.
Well, that was a good swing and miss pitch, but Hayes just did a good job of laying off of it.
In 72 2/3, only 18 walks.
That's really good. And you got to think at some point in time he may have walked somebody on purpose too, depending on the situation in the game.
And now Carson Hansen. First pitch swinging. That's deep. That's going to stay in the park. And walk calls off Trey Campbell as they both battle the sun. Wildcats lead 1. It's scoreless after 1 on SEC Plus. As you can see, took the Sooners to the College World Series championship game 3 years ago. So you know they must consider themselves to have unfinished business in Omaha. Wildcats made their first trip ever last year. Sam Christensen leads things off, and that is playable. Burke's out.
Attaboy.
He called off Nate Harris.
Harris is a pitcher now. Get him out of the way.
I'm going to say we've talked about this a lot, but pitchers always want to take a stab at it, it seems, and they always get called off by their teammates.
Well, one of the reasons, too, if you're a pitcher there like McCoy did at one time, you could see him waving guys away. That time, it didn't look like Harris really wanted to take part in it. And you got your infielders playing so far back. Good job of Devin getting out and making the play.
Now Mason Hamlin out of Falcon, Colorado, he goes the other way for the second base hit for the Sooners tonight. Both to the same hole.
Nicely done. Took a little breaking ball, something off speed, and he didn't roll over on it, just stayed back, served it to right field.
And he jumped on the first pitch.
Yeah. And that's why he's hitting 300.
Yep. So now Scott Mudler, one of 5 seniors on this team. From Johns Creek, Georgia. Mudler starting his 18th game. (15 base hits on the year. Right through a fastball at 91 miles an hour. Mudler on a 3-game hitting streak. Stays alive at 0-2. getting a start at DH tonight. Also has caught 14 games. Boy, Harris trying to nibble that outside edge. We're in the top of the second inning, just underway. Both teams threatened in the first. Had him leaning.
That was going to be close. McCoy hangs on to it. Yeah, he's in there.
Mudler last year played in 47 games. Batted .280. Crowd still arriving here at Kentucky Proud Park.
Well, this is a nice ball crowd tonight. No softball game going on. We've pretty much been playing double headers every day we've been here with the softball, but they're at the SEC tournament now?
They're done.
They're done.
Yep.
Wow. That ball looked like it went right off the knob.
That, in fact, is exactly what happened. It's a hard luck foul ball.
And how many times have we seen that this year?
We have seen it more times this year, I think, than all our years combined.
Wow. You watch this and go, I mean, I think that is right off the knob, and that's what Devin's pointing to. Boy, he's done a good job of fouling off. That's a pretty good pitch there. A little down and away change, and he's done a good job of just making contact.
Mudler had 2 base knocks at Georgia a couple of weeks ago. Started at catcher, drove in 3 runs, had 2 doubles, in fact, at base hits in 2 games last weekend against Ole Miss. Boy, Hamlin has really taken a liberal lead at first base.
2 for 2 in stolen bases. They're pretty consistent. We know they'll run, but they don't get thrown out very much either.
Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. It was interesting when South Carolina came in. We saw good old-fashioned pitch outs by the Gamecocks. Pulled a string on him and froze him at the plate. Strikeout number 1 for Harris. 2 out.
See where Devin sits. That's close. He didn't have to pull it back too much.
No, did not frame it at all. So now Dawson Willis with a man on and 2 out. Hamlin at first base singled to right field with 1 out. Willis, like Walk, has 15 steals. They're tied for 5th in the SEC. And Willis is 2nd in the league in attempts with 22 stolen base attempts.
We get that speed down at the bottom of the lineup.
Back pick. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Willis, a JUCO transfer. And again, like his teammate, Mudler, just staying alive. Willis played at LSU Eunice, was on a national champion JUCO team.
What JUCOs used to be, I mean, every year you go to a college team, they'd have guys coming from there. They were so strong back in the day.
Starting 3rd baseman was the defensive player of the year at his JUCO last season. Starting his 47th game. All 47 for the Sooners, all at third base. Again, the 2-2. Harris closes down yet another inning with a strikeout, and Oklahoma leaves a man scoreless in Lexington on SEC Plus. Far from Kentucky Proud Park, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, glad to have you along on SEC Plus, where Nick Mingione back to work.
I'm seeing a theme here with some of our reporting. Well, you got a graduation. I didn't see that. You got a library. Didn't see much of that.
And, you know, one might be linked to the other.
You reckon?
But as we said, Nick Mingione, 9 years at Kentucky, and as you can see, a pretty good worksheet, including an SEC championship last year. This guy is Gargett with an excuse me foul ball. There have been 2 SEC titles in the history of Kentucky baseball, and that young man has been a part of both, an assistant in 06 under John Cohen, and then led the Wildcats to a share last year of the SEC title. Gaius Gargett taking advantage of playing time because of injuries, most notably Patrick Herrera at third base. And Gargett has done the job. He's hitting .281. Has 1 home run on the year. That came against Texas. Wildcats took 1 out of 3 from the top-ranked Longhorns. Just missed taking the series.
How many times we said that this year?
And now the shadows have crept over the mound, but the batters are still looking back at the batter's eye at bright sunshine, but at least coming out of the pitcher's hand, it's pretty much in the shadows. Still a challenge.
Yes, it is. Are they going to close the top for this game?
Boy, Gargett got a good cut, stayed alive at 96 miles an hour. And we talk a lot about these pitches, Doug, that are in the low 90s or higher. And guys like Gargett and his teammates, they can hit pitches like that. It's guys like Witherspoon who can change speeds, who can locate. They're just brutal.
Well, he throws quality strikes.
Yes.
You know, most guys that throw hard, or a lot of guys, if they throw it down the middle, the hitters will adjust. But when you can move it up, down, in and out, and then a little off speed too, it makes it so tough. And that's why he's been so good.
And he blows it by Gargett. First strikeout for Witherspoon. 101 on the year.
He threw him breaking ball, threw him a fastball down. This time he just comes with the fastball up under his hands. Just good pitching.
So now the 1 out, the aforementioned Patrick Herrera, who has had a shoulder injury. He has tweaked a hamstring trying to run out at bay. Well, he successfully ran out the hit, but kind of pulled up lame at first base.
I'll tell you, he really had it going well too
Yeah.
when he got hurt, and had him hitting anywhere from second, fourth, fifth in the lineup. But when he went down, then you can see this team kind of started losing. They didn't have that big hit that they were looking for that he had been giving them up to that point.
Tied for the team lead in batting average. Leads the team in on-base percentage. He gets on 46% of the time. Out of Mesa, Arizona. Third year of the program, the senior transferred in from Northwestern. Waited his turn. He's made the most of it, or at least he was, till the injuries began to happen. You see Herrera with the hands near his body, and he kind of relaxes them as the pitch is on the way. He told me that that was something he added a while back because he felt like with his hands away from his body, he had too much wasted movement at the beginning of his swing.
He'll still get them out there right
Oh, yeah.
before he swings, though, but there they go out. Every hitter has to have a trigger.
Yes.
And you try to find out where that is, but this one has worked for him pretty well.
Had a 4-game multi-hit streak earlier this year. I was talking to a hitting coach, and he said so many Little League coaches try to teach kids not to use a trigger, and that's the worst thing you can do. Again, more high heat. It's got to look so inviting coming your way, but you just can't catch up.
Yeah, and it's smooth delivery, and he set you up on the pitches before that, gone away, then this pitch run, fastball up in. And he gets it at the right place in the zone. If you miss up higher than that, the hitter's going to take it. If you miss it a little bit lower, it's going to be pretty good to pitch.
Well, there you see where Witherspoon ranks in 4 different categories and why he is rated so highly in the eyes of the experts looking ahead to the upcoming draft. James McCoy, switch hitter. He's a grad student on this Kentucky team. And he'll send it right back up the middle. Boy, James McCoy, just his 11th base hit of the year, making his 14th start. We were watching him in BP, as you pointed out. He's got a good, quick, compact stroke.
Yeah, when he stays within himself, that time stayed back, he just threw the hands at the ball. If he doesn't try to get too big, and he's big enough where he's got a lot of power, but you know, he comes to the ballpark every day with a great attitude, wasn't playing a lot early, played all last year, waited his turn, and now he's back in the lineup, and he's been a vital clog for this Kentucky team.
So now with 2 down once again, the Wildcats, as they did in the first inning with a man on first base. And McCoy is a threat to go. 4 for 4 on the year. Griffin Cameron trying to make something happen. The Lexington native getting a start in center field once again. Cameron making the most of his playing time as Will Marcy went down early in the year with a season-ending injury that cost the Wildcats their starting center fielder.
I think Griffin Cameron's going to be a really good player.
Covers a lot of ground in center field.
Defensively, he's already there. He'll get a little bit stronger, start getting more confidence as he gets playing a lot more.
Last summer in the Northwoods League, 43 steals in 46 attempts.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Not bad. Played for the Lakeshore Chinooks. Set a franchise record for steals.
Got some good summer leagues. A lot of Kentucky kids go up there and play every year, too, and you can really tell the difference.
Griffin had a 3-hit game against Auburn earlier this year. Cats will settle for 1 right here. One ball, 1 strike.
When you watch Kyson Witherspoon, you know just by watching him, he is in control of this game. From the pitch clock to everything that goes. He's throwing at his pace.
Very professional.
Very professional. I love it when their pitchers are a little faster, though, when they work, because it keeps you out there on your toes. But with him, you know he's going to be around the plate, so you better be ready all the time for something to come at you.
Runner on the way. And McCoy avoids oversliding, as you can see, just hanging on literally. And now a man in scoring position for the Wildcats.
Well, he got a good jump, too. Just lowers that head, checks to see. All right, he didn't swing. Hang on to the bag, baby. They're going to have to put a little handle out there that you can grab a hold of so as you go by. Because on wet turf, you got no chance.
No, if it's the first time you've seen a game in this ballpark, oversliding the bag is not unusual. 2 balls, 1 strike to Cameron. Chance to put his team ahead. And it gets away. And McCoy with good speed finds his way to third.
And a good read that time as well. Ball got by. It was kind of hard to see because it was blocked out by the catcher. But he reads it, trying to pick it up. I got it. It's a good strong arm by Carmichael behind the plate, but he just didn't have a chance on that.
So now a man on third base and a 3-1 count for Griffin Cameron. And Cameron works a walk from a pitcher who doesn't pass many.
And as we said earlier, he may have been trying maybe to pitch around him a little bit. He knows he's got Devin Burks coming up next. He's a right-hander facing the right-hander. He's got a good breaking ball. You know, sometimes that can give Devin a little trouble.
So now they're at the corners for the Kentucky catcher batting in the 9-hole. He's another guy, Doug, who's been all over this batting order all year long.
I think maybe the only place he hasn't hit is first.
And an easy steal for Griffin Cameron. So just as Kentucky gave up second base to Oklahoma in the top of the second, Wildcats now have them at second and third with 2 out. Pulled the string, nicely done. No balls, 2 strikes.
Chances are he'll probably see another one of those. He's got a good one.
By the way, the pitch that got away was ruled a wild pitch, just the third for Witherspoon. In the alley, and it's walk covering ground. And the Wildcats strand 2. We've had traffic in this game and nothing doing yet. Scoreless after 2 on the SEC Network. What are they going to do when they add 2 more teams to the SEC? And the answer is single elim. And an easy play for Caius Gargett at third base as Jason Walk pops out on an ill-fated bunt attempt. But again, trying to take advantage of speed, just couldn't get the bunt down.
You got to look like a fastball. Of course, Tyus was playing in there tight anyway. And if he gets it down the line where he's got to make a backhanded play, it might be a little tougher, but.
And now Trey Gamble looks at an off-speed pitch for strike 1. Trey bounced to second base back in the first inning. Did a nice job hitting behind the runner and moved Walk from first to second. Sooners have had a man on base each of the first 2 innings. In fact, had 2 on base in the first. Now they shift him to the right. Gargett on the second base side of the bag. Jason Walker just popped out a switch hitter. Sooners have 2 in the lineup. That's into the alley, and that's going to drop. So base hit number 3 on the evening for Oklahoma.
And once again, we see Harris getting ahead. Well, this pitch is just right down the middle. And a good job by Gamble being able to hit the ball. But he got a good pitch to hit, but he's been able to get ahead of these hitters, just hasn't been able to put them away as of yet.
So now Easton Carmichael bounced to first base. 12 home runs on the year. Burke's trying to keep things interesting from behind the plate. Wildcats looking for their 28th double play of the year. Deep right. Hansen back to the wall, and that's out of here. It's an Oklahoma team that does not hit a lot of home runs. But that right there, Mr. Easton Carmichael, is the team leader now with 13 and 51 runs batted in and a 2-0 Oklahoma lead.
That's one of those great American ballpark home runs. That ball didn't look like it was hit that well. Not a lot of wind. But, you know, he gets the bat head out, balls away. Looks like he gets it on the good part of the barrel. The ball just eases on out.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Hansen had a beat on it all the way. So now a rare Kentucky SEC game where the Wildcats are trailing. Up until now, they have led in an overwhelming majority of conference games as Jackson Willits stands in with 1 out.
It tells you a little bit how strong Carmichael is, too. Hitting that ball the opposite way with very little wind, believe it or not. Gives them a 2-run lead here, the top of the third.
Willits 9 home runs on the year. Jackson worked his way to second base his last time up. You see the OU offense taking advantage of the walks, lots of triples, lots of steals, lots of runs. And in fact, third in the league in runs scored, but middle of the pack in batting average. That tells you a lot about creativity.
And how many big hits they get as well.
That's exactly right.
The hits with runners in scoring position, it's a good stat.
Well, it's trying to go the other way.
We brought that up several times with this Kentucky team. I think their last weekend they were 3 for 26 with runners in scoring position. Hence they get beat 3 straight by Mississippi State.
Well, it's one of 3 Sooners with 3 triples on the year. Carmichael and Walk also with 3 triples. Good for a tie for 4th in the SEC. 3-2. And another walk issued by Harris. Second of the night. Still 1 out. Of course, my partner once upon a time had 3 triples in 1 game.
How about that?
Just a few years ago, as Dan Roselle makes a mound visit. Did you need oxygen after that 3rd one?
I was still in shock. I didn't even realize what was going on. I never had 3 hits in a week, let alone get 3 in a game. The last one was pretty good. And then the 4th time was kind of fun because I got up, and I don't think anybody's ever done it 4 times in a game. And so I got up, I got a pitch right down the middle, and I hit the most perfect double play ball you ever saw. I'm sure your teammates excused you. So meeting adjourned, and Kyle Brandt stands in. Sooners took the early 2-0 lead on the long ball, and obviously looking for more, looking for base runners. They call it chaos on the base pass, but they spell it with an extra U. CHAOUS. And when it comes to creative offense, Nick Mingione likes to use that word, chaos. Not small ball, just do whatever it takes, and if it involves chaos on the base pass, so be it. And again, these 2 teams have kind of parallel lives offensively. Only 3 wins separate them in the SEC standings, but I'll tell you, likely the biggest difference when you break things down, the Witherspoon family, the twin brothers. Branch looking to slash. And now with a 2-0 lead, Oklahoma can get a little more aggressive on the bases, a little hit and run there.
Now it's up to Kentucky to try to handle the team that's trying to beat it at its own game.
You look at the double plays they've turned, not that many, but they just haven't had many chances. They got a lot of fly balls hitting this ballpark.
Now Harris jumps ahead of Kyle Branch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One of 16 Texans on this OU team. Believe it or not, only 2 from Oklahoma. Pulled him with an off-speed pitch. And that's Hanson racing in to make the catch. 2 out. Branch did well to get his bat on the ball. So now Sam Christensen led off the second inning when he popped out to the catcher. 2 runs in with 2 out. Third in the league in walks drawn with 43. Also third in the league in walks drawn per game with basically 1 walk per contest. Everybody's surviving check swing so far tonight.
And you see if those pitches are strikes or a little bit closer, they're going to get more of a swing. That's kind of the same as it was before.
Yeah. Two hops for Lawrence, and that'll do it. But Oklahoma jumps out early on the Wildcats thanks to the big fly by Easton Carmichael to right field. Oklahoma 2, Kentucky nothing on the SEC network. In the SEC.
We saw Zabrowski early in the year too. Big rascal.
That's why the SEC tournament down in Hoover is such a great place to see future pro players.
That ball
Tyler
hit pretty
Bell
good.
crushes the first pitch he sees, and that is gone.
No, they're not. They're
They're calling that a double? Well, here in the ballpark, they've called it a home run on one side of the diamond.
The outfielder, the umpire on second base immediately threw up safe.
Wow.
But I'm sure they'll have to review this.
Well, let's see where this thing bounced because they set off the alarm. And from where we sat, that looked like it left the ball yard.
Yep.
So naturally, they'll take another look. Crew chief challenge. And the look on that gentleman's face kind of says it all. What? Take another look. Oh, that might have hit the yellow. Yeah.
Well, there's that fence is not too far behind it. So did it ricochet off of that fence or?
Well, in the college game,
I thought the yellow was a home run.
it is in the pros.
Yeah. Make a call out there, one of you fans. See, it looks like it hits on. I can't tell if it's hitting on. That's what I think too. I think it does hit this Coca-Cola sign and then ricochets back onto the field.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And we've been wrong 99.7% of the time in the years that we've been covering the games.
Once again, our camera people are all over it.
Yeah. If it's not a home run, we might see Nick might not stay in the game too long. No, he has to tonight. Boy, Tyler Bell, though.
I was just about to say, he destroyed that ball, but
First time up, he hits one to the center field, and he hits it good, but see everybody kind of looking at the board right now. It did look like it hit and bounced off the Coca-Cola sign and came back.
the college game.
All right, see if I'm wrong. It bounces, then off the Coke sign, and then kicks back because you can see the shadow over there.
I know in the pro game, that's a double, or that's an extra base hit.
Well, you know, you're not getting the reaction out there from the fans either. You'd think the fans, if they were watching it, would have had a pretty good idea about it. But irregardless, it was a well-hit ball, and it's a triple. Now, that would have been something he got thrown out at third, which he could have on a good throw.
So a leadoff triple for Tyler Bell. And now Luke Lawrence with a chance to do what we thought Tyler Bell had done, and that's cut the deficit in half. Boy, you got a good look, though, at those quick hands by Bell. You got to think, Doug, that maybe 5 or 6 years from now, these two guys will face each other in the big leagues.
If not sooner.
Yeah. Lawrence goes down to the line the other way. That's a fair ball. That's a double. He takes the turn, hits the brakes, back-to-back extras for the Wildcats. It's 2-1.
Boy, of all the guys on this team that are not afraid to shoot the ball the other way, Luke Lawrence is one of them. And he doesn't just serve it out there. He hits it with authority. He gets a fastball up away and drills it to left field right down the line. Look at that fastball. All right, he doesn't do anything special. I'm going to stay back. And, I mean, he hits a seed. And the left fielder had him played pretty good, but just the ball hit so hard, didn't have time to get over.
And Lawrence all year long has made a study of going the other way. And he took a challenging pitcher down the left field line. And that's going to call for a mound visit for the Sooners. So now it's Kentucky with momentum.
We can't argue much with the success that Skip Johnson's had, though, with his pitching staff. And what's that little lefty the Dodgers had that he had part of for a couple of years?
I know he had Brian Cole.
Oh, man, how about that? That was a great story.
A guy who, in a Sports Illustrated story, was described as the best player you've never heard of. Young man lost his life in a car accident while he was playing minor league baseball, but described by so many big leaguers as by far the best player they'd ever seen. And he played for Skip Johnson at Navarro Junior College. But yeah, Google Brian Cole, C-O-L-E. There's a great story in Sports Illustrated's archives on that young man. So now Cole Hage with a man in scoring position. Drew a walk his last time up. Triple by Bell, double by Lawrence, 2-1 game. Cats answering immediately. That is deep.
That ball's
right
hit
field.
Good.
That is gone.
Maybe it is carrying to right field tonight.
Wildcats are a single away for hitting for the cycle in this inning alone as a team. And Kentucky takes the lead on a big blue bomb by Cole Hage. They are roughing up the best right-hander in the SEC and one of the best in the country.
Folks, I'm a little surprised. I wish we could give you a better call on these things, but these balls don't look like they're hit real well.
But they just keep rolling.
And it just keeps carrying right on out to right field.
So the Wildcats have sent 3 batters to the plate, and all 3 have scored here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And we've been doing this for a while. I don't remember a stretch of hitters who went triple, double, homer for any team, much less Kentucky.
Yeah, true.
Carson Hansen looks at an off-speed pitch. That was the biggest curveball he's thrown yet.
And that's the new one he's come up instead of the slider, but with the curve.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw's who I was thinking of a few minutes ago to tell
That's
you
it. Came back with 96. But just off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They've hit for the cycle. Hansen gets it done going the other way.
Consecutively. I don't know if we've ever seen that before.
Wow.
But, you know, credit what UK is doing right now. I mean, they're measuring this. They're not, that's a ball that he could easily roll over on and ground out to second, but he waits, lets the ball get back to him a little bit, shoots it through the left side.
So now Caius Gargett will try to keep things going for the Wildcats. Gargett, a switch hitter, but it looks like he's going to stand in the right-handed box, perhaps to lay one down.
I say there's a good chance we could see.
There you go.
Unless it's a slash. They've been known to do that.
Yep, and they try it.
Well, now you got a lead. You can start doing some things, hitting and running, getting guys in motion. Such a difference when you got a lead and when you don't. And shoot, every game. I mean, in this conference, there's never enough runs.
No, not with metal bats. Hansen getting some attention at first base. 5 out of 6 in the steals department. Triple, double, homer, single. 3-2 Kentucky lead. Gargett kills it down the first baseline, and down goes Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Came up grinning, but not that kind of grin. And now Skip Johnson out of the Oklahoma dugout to make sure his pitcher's okay and to have a word with the umpires.
Well, Caius did not quit running, and it looked like the pitcher caught it. It was in the baseline, and umpires are trying to get the guys back out on the field. I mean, that's just the timing. I mean,
That's a baseball play.
that's a baseball play.
And there you see the grin by Witherspoon.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing, if he's, I mean, he caught it when right in the baseline. That's going to be hard for him to stop, but he just didn't try to stop. So that's 2 guys, 2 baseball guys. Why would we go to the replay now? Would you tell me?
Yeah, they should have just left it where it was. I mean, Gargett, you saw his arm come up. That was to protect himself.
I don't think it was malicious.
Nothing malicious.
It wasn't
No.
malicious, but it was good contact.
And I would bet if you asked that young man, he'd say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we're going fragrant one.
Caius Gargett, 6'1", 190.
I mean, there wasn't anywhere to go. Good play by both kids.
Yep. Witherspoon, 6'2", 207.
And Gargett can run, and he's a stocky kid, too. Look, he's going to try to get by him, and then he cuts his path, so there's not a lot he can do.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's malicious at all. Now, you're probably sitting out in Oklahoma right now. You're going, are you kidding me? My buddy Jimmy Houston sitting out there right now going, what kind of ball y'all playing in Kentucky?
I like that Witherspoon came up with a big grin.
I do, too.
That didn't hurt me. You are correct, sir. I know we're a little bit biased, but so 1 out and 1 tackle. That play goes 1 unassisted. So now we've seen a team hit for the cycle as a ball club and a pitcher making a play on a ground ball unassisted, which you see once in a while, but not very often.
I think the kids, both of them, handled it extremely well.
Now Patrick Herrera with a man in scoring position. And mind you, if you're Oklahoma, you see your starting pitcher, that starting pitcher, collide and go down, your heart's in your mouth for a second. Patrick struck out his last time up on a high fastball. Ouch. So now 2 Wildcats on base as Herrera is bruised for the team leading 15th time.
We're going to try to go sinker down and in. Boy, it's just what he needs coming off a, once you got a pulled groin, hit a sore shoulder. They don't move, though.
As a team, Kentucky has been hit by a pitch 129 times, 3rd in the country.
You know what amazes me? You got kids throwing 90-something miles an hour at the college level, and these batters do not move.
No.
I mean, they got some armor on, obviously, but.
And you can see that this team and the last couple have been adept at drawing bruises.
Wow.
The 2023 team
That's the record.
won the regional here. Last year's team won the super regional here and the SEC title. And this team could set a new record. Likely will. More importantly, 1 out and 2 on for James McCoy.
We had a good at bat last time.
He did.
Kept back, got a pitch, shot it up the middle for a single. That time he gets ahead of him, now goes off speed.
The ball's 2 strikes. Well, you saw where Carmichael set up. Trying to run it away from McCoy, a switch hitter. But Witherspoon has such commanding stuff. You've got to be ready for the fastball, but he could yank that cord on you. McCoy trying to stay back. Big hole on the left side of the infield as Oklahoma's middle infielders in double play formation.
James McCoy has a hitting instructor that he's had his whole life. Terry Harper played for the Atlanta Braves. Down in Atlanta, ran into him. He said, this is one of the finest people you'll ever see. And Terry's been working with him with a lot of stuff. Paid off first time up. Good take.
Well, that's where Carmichael wanted it.
And you know, the more he's been playing, obviously, he's getting a little more comfortable, getting more comfortable at first, more at bats. Shoot, they've called on him to do everything. He chases foul balls. He goes gets Gatorade.
Happy to do so. The 1-2 pitch.
Oh.
Speaking of bruises, you don't get credit for that one.
Seems like it'll find a way to miss that pad. Ow, the inside part right
on the bone. So the count holds 1-2 for James McCoy. Anson at second, Herrera at first. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. And by the way, the Oklahoma uniforms, they track such things. How well have the Sooners performed in the pinstripes on the road? Tell you that coming up. This OU team is 4-1, wearing the grays with the pinstripes and the crimson cap.
Do they have a gray hat as well?
They do. Gray with a crimson bill.
They are good-looking unis.
They are. 2-2. Again, McCoy comes through with a base knock. That's going to drive in 1. McCoy hustling to second, but gunned down.
You know, he's done that twice.
Yep.
He's done it twice in the last 2 ball games.
Sure has.
It's like a good news, bad news. All right, he stays back, shoots the ball for a base hit, and we saw this exact same thing last week where one runner's going to score, the other one's going to third, and McCoy thinks he can get to second, but it's a good job by the relay, and he's a dead duck. And instead of first and third with one out, you got a man on third and 2 outs, but the Cats do get another run in.
And they lead it 4-2 here in the third inning. And aggressive swings have paid off against Kyson Witherspoon, who last time out was part of a shutout effort. He went 7 innings against Ole Miss. Griffin Cameron trying to keep things going for the Wildcats. Witherspoon actually gave up 4 runs at Mizzou in a win over the Tigers. Did strike out 10. And gave up 4 runs against Alabama back in March.
Early in the year.
Late March, yep.
Yep.
But coming into this game in the last 14 innings, had given up just 1 run. And it struck out 16. 2 balls, 1 strike to Griffin Cameron. Next pitch will be number 61.
And you got your 9-hitter on deck. He's already got him out once, so he may be trying to be a little careful. Throwing him a couple off-speed stuff, trying to bust something to get him to get himself out. Wow, then paints a corner.
Big time pitch makes it 3 balls, 2 strikes to Griffin Cameron, the Lexington native. Drew a walk his last time up. Squares it up, but there's Kyle Branch, just beats Cameron. But the Wildcats hang up a crooked number. They add 4 to the scoreboard. They lead it 4-2. We'll chat with Nick Mingione coming up next. Back at Kentucky Proud Park, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, 4-2 Wildcats, who hung up 4 against one of the best pitchers in the country, joined by Nick Mingione, the Kentucky head coach. Nick, I know how much you love to see your teams respond immediately when the other team scores. You got to be.
Can't hear anything.
You can't hear? I guess you can't hear anything. All right. We know the mic's working, so we'll try to straighten that out. What I was going to ask is about the fact that they love it when the other team scores and Kentucky responds immediately.
You want me to answer as Coach Mingione?
Go ahead.
Well, you know, we got our guys coming out being aggressive there at the plate. We want them to try to move runners. They had some good at-bats. They hit 1 out of the ballpark. We're up 4-2. Let's go. Nice talking to you. Bye.
Mason Hamlin leads off. For the Sooners, he put up 2 back in the 3rd inning on a home run. We have seen 2 home runs to right field and a towering fly ball that bounced off the wall for a triple. Nice stop by McCoy. Well done by Harris as well. To cover that is a guy who had not played first base until he got to Kentucky.
Okay, this one won't go down on style points, by golly, but he's kind of, oh, man, I'm going to dive for it. I don't have to dive for it. I'll just go down to my knees, let me get up, make a perfect throw. And that's what's so much fun about this game. You put guys in different positions. He's learning. He's playing hard. He got a big base hit last time up. And back to your point, it's always frustrating for another team if you come in and score and then they come right back on top of you and score regardless.
Now Scott Mudler caught looking his last time up by Nate Harris. Harris up to 71 pitches now here in the 4th inning. No action in the Kentucky bullpen. There is action in the Oklahoma pen. Good off-speed pitch. At 2-0 goes off speed.
I think that's where the game has changed the
It has.
most from the pitching standpoint. Pitcher's not afraid to American League pitch.
They'll start you off with an off-speed pitch.
Remember the old days growing up? National League, if it was 2-0, 3-1, fastball, here it
smoke.
comes.
Yeah.
And that American League started changing. Now, of course, with all the, can't really tell the difference between the leagues now.
Well, there's
Both
so
of
much
them-
movement.
They got the DH and all of it now. Come on.
But there's so much movement now with players jumping back and forth. Back in the day, umpires were different. American League, National League,
Had the big balloons that
Yep.
they wore, so they had a higher strike zone.
and the American League. That's right.
Yeah.
3-2 pitch. There's McCoy again. There's Harris again. That's why you practice.
They'll be giving instructions out here, ladies and gentlemen, this week. It's fun to watch. And it always seems to find you, too. If you bring a guy in a new position, he's going to get a lot of action.
I remember hearing John Cohen say that. He used to like to say that a lot many years ago here in Kentucky. He didn't make it up, but that was one of his favorite expressions. The game will find you.
Yes, it's
you
true.
cannot hide
You can't hide.
players defensively. Now Dawson Willis,
And that's any game.
yes. Right now, Griffin Cameron in center field is shielding his eyes from the sun. There you see Griffin. And he may have to chase this one down. Yeah, he's on the run, but here comes Hage. And he'll make the running grab for out number 3. Oklahoma and Kentucky locked up in a good ball game here in Lexington. 4-2 Wildcats on the SEC network. Conferences are getting so much stronger, talking about the SEC and the ACC, but Coastal jumped up and won it 4 or 5 years ago as Devin Burks leads off for the Wildcats.
See, we've got a hat on the field, it looks like. Maybe a glove, a couple of balls. There's some kids having a big time down on the berm.
Burks hit a fly ball to center his last time up. Jason Walk dealing with the sun out there right now. Another souvenir delivered by Burks. Boy, Witherspoon, not used to this kind of action, especially early in the game, giving up those 4 runs. Teammates staked him to a 2-0 lead. Burks in his 5th year with the program. Be honored tomorrow on Senior Day.
Wow. It's
Something-
always a special day, though.
He's seen a lot of Kentucky wins. Running pickup. Nicely done by Dawson Willis. 1 out. That was such an iconic photo as you take another look at Willis. Big hop.
Once he knows he's got time, sets his feet, good strong throw.
But last year in the Super Regional, the final out was a called strike 3. And watching Devin Burke shoot his arms into the air, that was a moment for the ages. You're a Kentucky fan.
All about everything was very special. First time this, that, and
Yep.
we got to go for the ride. It was really nice.
Tyler Bell with 1 out. Last time up, hit a moonshot that triggered the siren for a home run here in the ballpark, but it had hit the top of the wall and bounced back into play.
We tried our best to give him the home run. So he hit one here from the left side one night that cleared everything. Might
Yes.
have been out on the road.
Yes.
So this young freshman is, 190 pounds, 6'1", and just knows how to play the game. We're very lucky to get a chance to see him here at the university.
And again, came out of the high school that produced Ryan Ritter. As you can see, the highest drafted player to attend college coming out of high school last year. Ryan Ritter was a Gold Glove winning shortstop here.
Yes, he was.
now playing pro ball. Jammed him. Willits giving chase, but surrenders wisely to Trey Gamble. And there are 2 out. Well, we considered ourselves so fortunate to watch Ryan Ritter applying his trade here for a couple of years, JUCO transfer. And then Grant Smith comes along, transfers in from Incarnate Word. And we're like, wow.
I thought the
more great shortstop play.
And I thought Grant Smith 2 years ago was as good as we'd ever
Yes.
seen it played here at the university. I mean, there's been some good ones.
I agree.
And then last year, we had to watch him play on a broken foot all year. So.
Well, and a torn labrum, a hip
Yeah.
labrum. I mean, well, how Grant Smith even walked to his position was beyond me. Luke Lawrence doubled his last time up, drove in Tyler Bell, came on and scored the second run of the game for the Wildcats. But rolls over on it, and an easy play and an easy inning for the Sooners. Coming back, we'll talk to OU manager and coach Skip Johnson, 4-2 Kentucky on the SEC Network.
Talked with Jimmy Houston. He said you big-eyed it. It was only about 4.5.
Yeah, right.
He said to be sure and tell you that he's watching tonight, but we've been impressed just with the poise of this youngster on the mound, and a baseball play up the middle on the bunt, but the 2 kids handled it very well.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those deals where it's a heated moment, and you got to protect your players. So that's part of it, and we'll get back to it.
How do you feel about the way your team is playing now here in the stretch?
Well, we lost. I mean, I think we're playing good. I mean, just getting, just trying to get back the momentum in this game is going to be is tough because we lost the momentum, and we're just got to get that momentum back. And I think, with finals being over and those guys doing it, so it'll be a lot different.
First trip rather than Lexington. What do you think of KPP?
Yeah, it's cold.
It is a little chilly
Yeah.
compared to where you're from. Not a bad ballpark, eh?
No, it's nice.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, good luck. We appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thanks, guys.
Skip Johnson, who comes from Texas by way of Oklahoma and enjoys when he's not coaching baseball, absolute avid bowler, as well as a hunter and a fisherman.
So they ask him what's a scratch bowler, because that's what he is. That means you average over 200. But he's had several perfect games,
10, I think.
2 800 series.
Yeah.
That's big time.
And you get a ring for an 800 series. I didn't know that.
And a perfect game, too.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Houston, great fisherman, longtime friend of the coaches, too, said he's a really good worm fisherman. And and he's had him out at his place a couple of times. And, well, I tell you what, just listening to his interview yesterday was so fun because we didn't talk much baseball.
Yeah.
It was hunting, fishing, and it was really fun. So,
well, he got
and he's old school, too.
He got so excited talking about bowling.
Yeah.
Trey Gamble, 1 for 2. He has scored a run. Singled back in the 3rd inning. Scored ahead of Carmichael's home run. Now they shift him to the right side with Gargett.
All right, Jimmy, he told me that he didn't big eye that fish. He said it was every bit of 8.
Short left field. Bell's got to cover some ground, but there's Hage stepping in. 2 out.
Boy, did a good job of coming back after getting behind that time and being able to work a fastball in, a little jam shot.
Next up for the Sooners, the catcher number 2, Easton Carmichael.
And now Carmichael, big fly last time up. And just like Bell's towering fly ball, it just kept carrying to right center. Sometimes that happens here at Kentucky Proud Park.
That one really shocked me. Hages, too. I didn't think Hage was hit that well, but, you're looking at a couple of big, strong kids, too. I mean, we know Hage is 6'3", 240, and if you look at Carmichael, it's a big rascal as well.
6'1", 200. Just past Luke Lawrence. Solid shot.
I'm not sure Luke got a good vision of that because there's a little sun out there. It looked like the ball, he was there, but it went under his glove.
Second base knock.
And hit with some authority. All right, watch, he looks like he gets a pretty good jump on it. And
Next up for Oklahoma, the shortstop number 7,
maybe it did get by him.
Jackson Willits.
because it had some steam.
Carmichael last year, first team All Big 12 in the last season for Oklahoma in the Big 12. Now Jackson Willits. He's an Oklahoma native, Fort Cobb.
You know what's been impressive about Carmichael? He's hit 2 balls. He's not trying to pull the ball. He's seeing it, hitting it right up the middle. He's got the home run and now that base hit.
Willits from Fort Cobb Braxton High School. Made the all-tournament team in the Big 12 tourney last year. Gets through Devin Burks. Now a man in scoring position with 2 outs for OU. So the Sooners trying to put more pressure again on the Wildcats. Willits earlier this year had a 4-hit game against UT Arlington. 4 hits against Missouri. Likes to bunch him up.
Wow. You got him down, you get the first 2 guys, and you like to see Harris get a little more command on that. Go right after somebody.
Since that 4-hit game against Mizzou, he's only had 2 base knocks.
Wow, 3-0 change. How about that? Don't see a lot of those,
No,
I guess,
sir.
anymore.
No, sir. But a hitter's count now for Willits.
Wouldn't be surprised if we didn't throw another one. Well, good night.
Another one gets away on ball 4. So wildness suddenly from Harris. Back-to-back wild pitches. And Oklahoma so adept at drawing walks, as we mentioned earlier. And, you know, for Harris,
That may be it.
that may be it. Back-to-back wild pitches, he had only thrown 2 all year.
I don't. That last one, I couldn't tell if they got mixed up or what, but it looked like Devin was having a pretty good beat on it, and it just off his glove.
Well, Jackson Willits has walked for the 3rd time tonight, and he'll be the last man that Harris faces. We'll step out. New arm on the way for the Wildcats. They lead it 4-2. OU is threatening on the SEC Network.
You tried to get there early this morning. Good luck, because they had, I think, 3 graduations to date, 1 tomorrow morning.
That's the new arm for the Wildcats, and everything new is old again. Jackson Novi, a veteran. Now you see his numbers. Not an unusual situation for Jackson to come out of the pen in the middle of the game with base runners on. As you can see, they like him because he's got the 43 strikeouts and only 27 2/3, and not a lot of walks. But he's facing Kyle Branch, batting .302. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Bounced to first, hit a fly ball to right. They're at the corners with 2 out. Starts him off with a fastball for a strike. Novi, one of 2 Kentucky lefties we're used to seeing early in the game if needed, along with Evan Byers.
Oh, my goodness, good pitch.
Great big bender, broke around the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tough pitch to lay off of as well.
Well, these are disciplined hitters for OU. One reason they draw a lot of walks. But now Novi jumps out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Harris retired the first 2 men he faced, gave up a base hit and a walk. 2 wild pitches later, and Novi comes on. Back with a curveball, and he hung it.
Yep.
And it's a 4-3 game. So the RBI single for Kyle Branch. And the Sooners are down only 1 now.
Boy, just right down the middle. He's trying to bury this thing, and I mean, it's belt high.
Sam Christensen.
So Carmichael, who singled and moved up on a pair of wild pitches, comes around. Well, it's at second now. Sam Christensen could tie it up with 1 swing. Native of Mesa, Arizona, same as Kentucky's Patrick Herrera. Christensen 0 for 2. First time up, he popped out to the catcher and bounced out to second base. Sooners took an early 2-0 lead in the third. Cats answered immediately with 4th in the third.
Wow. Pretty good pitch right there.
That is hammered to left. Hage on the run. Well, he covers some ground. Nicely done by the Wildcat left fielder. But Oklahoma puts up 1 on to the bottom of the 5th, 4-3 on the SEC network. The Bigs. And watching this young man pitch, I've not seen his brother yet. Obviously, we'll see him Sunday. You got to like their chances. And right now, the Wildcats gave back a run. We'll see if they can answer here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Cole Hage, a 2-run bomb his last time up. Got off to that good start early. Got into SEC play, struggled a bit, but now he's catching up. The SEC pitchers and doing a lot of that, driving the ball and driving it the other way. That was a no-doubter. There was controversy about Tyler Bell's. You know, and talking to our radio pal next door, Darren Hedrick, between innings, and he was talking about the fact that a ball that, we know if a ball hits the yellow and comes back, it's a live ball. But if it hits something beyond it, it's a home run. We thought it had hit that Coca-Cola sign, which meant home run.
Yeah, it looked to me like it short hopped it.
Yeah, right there.
Came back on the field. But
baseballs go better with Coke, at least when they bounce off the yellow. I just dated myself with that reference.
yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
I'm used to that. 1-2 to Hage. You know, interesting watching Witherspoon with the compact windup, if you will, delivery. Spent part of last year as a relief pitcher. And we've seen more and more of that. Very little in the way of windups.
Just some of them think it's a wasted motion. Of course, in the old days, they all had those big swinging arms and legs, and now they're so good with getting you in the proper throwing motion to limit the aggression on your body, but to get the most speed out of your arm. See, how did I not graduate? Say something like that. I should graduate from college or something.
Well, think about all the knowledge you've accrued, though, since then.
Yes, and it went right out one side.
Like, so, well, no, you held on to the baseball knowledge.
Well, you know, you seem to do that with something that you love.
Absolutely. Baseball and fishing.
Oh,
You're a PhD.
Not necessarily in that order.
That's true. You and Skip Johnson.
Yeah, I have to go out with Jimmy Houston, fish with him one time out there. That'd be fun.
I'll try the 3-2 again. Challenge him with high heat. Strikeout number 3 for Witherspoon. And there's one down.
Now stepping to the plate for the Cats, scoring
You know, I think all 3 of his strikeouts, Doug, have been with the same kind of fastball.
Yes, he has. With, you know, the breaking ball, he doesn't have the command of it. I'm sure that he has had a lot during this season. And it's hanging out over the plate a little bit. The guys have been hitting it the opposite way, the left-handers, and the right-handers been able to put it in play as well.
And now Carson Hansen singled and scored a run his last time up. Back in the 4-run third inning. Each team with 6 base hits. Each team with a home run. You know, and when you looked at the numbers for these ball clubs, you wouldn't have thought we'd see many this weekend. Home runs, I mean. This young man homered on 2 of the first 3 pitches he saw as a Wildcat after transferring in from Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And he hits that high and hard. Deep center, there's Jason Walk.
Wow. I mean, there's absolutely no wind whatsoever. In the afternoon, that ball's probably out of here before the sun starts going down.
But it's a long fly ball out. 2 down now.
Man, that was textbook the way he played that fly ball, too. You hear me talk about it a lot. Of guys will drift under a ball trying to make the play instead of getting to a spot. That time he got to a spot, was standing there flat-footed just waiting for it to come into his glove. Love fundamental baseball.
Nothing to it. And now Caius Gargett. And again, the switch hitter batting from the right side. Caius laid down a nice bunt his last time up and collided with Witherspoon on his way to first.
There's the good slider. I tell you, he got behind, gave up more runs than normal, but you're seeing the poise now of a pitcher that's got his stuff together.
Took something off that one at full Gargett. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Caius with 5 multi-hit games this year, taking advantage of playing time. Had a big time in the fall, showed the coaches he's ready to contribute. .59-footer makes it 3-2. Wildcats played a couple of exhibition games in the fall. Gargett was a collective 6 for 9. 4 doubles. Wow, breaking ball on the inner edge. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. It's a ball game, 5 in the books, 4-3 Kentucky. So the 2-run homer by Easton Carmichael, it just kept carrying out of the ballpark in the top of the 3rd. But in the bottom, Tyler Bell off the wall. It went for a triple after a review. And then after a double by Luke Lawrence, made it 2-1. Here comes Cole Hage with a big fly of his own. That was worth 2 runs. Wildcats added another, and the 4 spot made it 4-2. Oklahoma got 1 back in the top of the 5th inning. And now the Sooners back to work against Jackson Novi, who came on for Nate Harris and allowed 1 run charged to Harris. We got a 1-run game here in Lexington, top of the 6th inning. Hamlin with a base knock back in the 2nd. And a ground ball to first base that saw McCoy lay out and take a hit away from him. Oklahoma playing in its first season as part of the SEC after 26 years in the Big 12. Sooners won 4 conference championships, including the title last year. OU was 23-7 in league play.
Wow.
It's a lot of conference wins.
That's a lot of conference wins.
Great pitch on the inner edge by Jackson Novey under the hands of the right-hander. And there's one out.
That's what he was trying to get. And we've seen that from him. He can throw that little cross pitches from that other side of the mound. Well, I mean, it's right on the knees. That's a tough pitch. With 2 strikes, you know, he's not going to have that called a ball too often.
Now Scott Mudler, 0 for 2 on the day. Strikeout and a ground ball. Mudler, a transfer from Northwest Florida State College out of Johns Creek, Georgia. Novey just missing the outer edge. One of 5 seniors on this OU team.
Boy, he's staying out there, isn't he?
Yes, he is, trying to live there. Tonight, in big situations, Sooners have come through a couple of times.
These two teams sort of remind me, though, of each other.
Yep.
And the stats will back that up pretty much.
Butler with a couple of multi-hit games this year. And a couple of multi-RBI games when he gets a chance to play. Got a 3-game hitting streak going on. Making his 4th start as a DH. Novey trying to get that outer edge and did not miss by much. Crowd enjoyed it.
Got a lot of umpires here tonight.
3 balls, 2 strikes. They play him to go the other way in the outfield. And Novey clearly missing with that pitch. His first walk delivered tonight. And with 1 out and a man on, the number 9 hitter, Dawson Willis. So we'll see if we are witness to any chaos with a U by OU. Gargett in a step or 2 at third base with 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Same corner he was nibbling with the lefty Mudler. Willis from Ruston, Louisiana. Home of Louisiana Tech. Where LSU women's basketball coach Kim Mulkey made her bones as a player. Good pitch down and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Willis looked like pretty much a free swinger, but he's been able to make contact. Struck out the first time, then fly it out, but been able to make some contact. Trying to get that ground ball here.
Chases high heat. 2nd strikeout of the inning for Jackson Novey. There are 2 outs. Now the top of the order.
We're changing the eye. Went down and in on 1, up and in, a little way. Just keep changing that eye level.
Now Jason Walk opened the game with a base hit to right field. Since then he's 0 for 2. Popped out the 3rd, fly ball to right. Switch hitter now in the right-handed box. He's done all his other work tonight, left-handed. And with 2 out, Gargett is even with a bag at 3rd. Nod to the speed for this young man. 15 steals on the year for Walk. just tall enough. Caius Gargett pulls it out of the air, robs walk of extra bases and very likely an RBI. And the Wildcats protect their 4-3 lead. Gargett cheating in, but he's not cheated here. Cats by 1. And James Hitt will try to keep these Wildcats at bay. Coming on for Kyson Witherspoon. There you see the Magnolia, Texas native. And now a left-hander facing the Wildcats. 27 strikeouts, only 8 walks in 25 2/3. And comes on with his team trailing 4-3, bottom of the 6th inning. Pitched 1/3 of an inning last weekend against Ole Miss. Gave up 3 hits and a run. And he's greeted by Patrick Herrera with a base hit on his first pitch.
I think Kentucky hitters overall tonight have been about as aggressive as we've seen them in the last week or so. But aggressive in a good way, in that they're not going after bad pitches, they're just finding good pitches they like.
Now James McCoy steps into the right-handed box against the left-hander hit. Who also went 1/3 of an inning against Georgia 2 weeks ago Sunday, gave up a run. And on Friday night went 2/3 and gave up 4 runs against the Bulldogs. We mentioned earlier, Herrera's been nursing some injuries. You wonder, does that change strategy with a guy on base who has stolen 11 bags in 14 tries this year? And of course, a lefty on the bump.
Oh, what a sweet play.
2 for Oklahoma. Textbook double play. Willits to Branch to Hamlin. Just like that, 2 down.
Boy, Willits got to that ball so fast. I mean, that ball's hit right on the button. Makes a perfect throw to his partner. And that's Tex right there, buddy. That's pretty. That ball was scalded, though. Hit right on the button. McCoy swung the bat well tonight.
I was going to say, he was 2 for 2 prior to that. And he might have squared that one up as well as any of the swings he's had tonight. But 2 outs now for Griffin Cameron.
So you see some good fielding in this league. I mean, really class fielders.
Cameron 0 for 1 with a walk, a steal tonight.
And I bet they love playing on a surface like this.
Get to talk to the visiting teams that come in here for the first time, and they spend a lot of time getting used to this if they can come in and practice on Thursday.
So Skip, how you like our field? Cold.
Well, if you're from Texas and you work in Oklahoma, I guess so. Now they shift Cameron.
You can't hit that ball the other way.
Well, it's well on the second base side of the bag. Throws him with a pitch on the outer edge. That's a great pitch by Hitt. Thanks to defensive pitching, 3 up, 3 down, 4-3 Kentucky on the SEC Network. And the fans who have shown up at Kentucky Proud Park have been rewarded with a good one. 4-3 Wildcats. Sooners have left some runners on base, but got the big fly from Carmichael. Wildcats got their homer. Cole Hayes, Jackson Novy on the mound, trying to keep these Oklahoma bats quiet here on the top of the 7th inning. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Game 1 of a 3-game set. Final home series for the Wildcats. Trey Gamble leads things off. This
Hard
is a
to believe,
guy.
isn't it?
Oh yeah. This is a guy who specializes in getting on base. In SEC play alone, his on-base percentage, he's 9th in the league. In conference games alone, Oklahoma's 2nd in league play and on-base percentage. He's 1 for 3 tonight, scored a run. And a number to keep an eye on, bases on balls. Sooners have drawn 4 walks. When they draw 5 or more, they are 25 and 6. And there's ball 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Novy comes in with a fastball. Might have gotten away with one there, Doug.
Yeah, I think it ran across the plate just a little bit more than he wanted it to.
Big hop. Gargett's got a charge. No shot. Infield single. Leadoff man reaches for the Sooners.
Well, that's what happens when you protect the plate and put the ball in play.
Now stepping to the plate, the catcher, number
All he was
2,
doing is
Easton
protecting,
Carmichael.
chopped it down. Not going to be any chance whatsoever. Nobody's got to play if this one. And Gargett does the right thing by eating it.
And now Easton Carmichael had the home run earlier. Team leader with 13. A week ago Saturday, Carmichael had a 2-home run game in a win over Ole Miss. His 2nd multi-homer game in 3 weekends.
He takes a good cut. Something a little bit off speed.
Trying to make it a multi-home run game tonight.
Boy, you see where he ranks right there in the offense. And one thing that he looks so comfortable up there is he'll hit the ball up the middle and the other way.
Just missed the inner edge.
Now think about that pitch. If you're going to throw it, you got to really get it in there because we've seen how strong he is already on the home run that he hit. Didn't look like he got all of it, but it was enough.
3rd team All-American last year per the baseball writers. Now 2 balls, 1 strike from Jackson Novy. Carmichael also with those 3 triples this year. Coming into the game, 16th in the SEC in RBI. Gamble has stolen at 10 bags. Only been caught twice. And he's got a good lead.
With 3 straight pitches, he's tried to come in there and all fastballs so far, it looks like, too.
Easton's dad, Darby, played for Oklahoma back in the early 1990s.
Wow. Challenged him right there. Gave him a good pitch to hit.
And his older brother, Braden, pitched for the Sooners in 2023. Full count. Huge strikeout for Jackson Novy. Pounded, or at least tried to, the inner edge and then worked him away.
That was set up just right. If you can do that, that's good. But I mean, came in, up and in, and then turns it over and goes away with the fastball.
Well, looking at where Burke set up, I'm not sure that's where the pitch was supposed to be. But it worked. So now 1 out and 1 on for Jackson Willits. And And if you're scoring at home, Jackson spells his name with an X.
Like my puppy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We got him from the Ukraine, so that's the way it was already named.
You speak English?
He speaks Ukrainian.
Good pitch on the outer edge. And you're right. Plate umpire with a little bit of delay kind of reminds me of a lot of softball umpires. I learned that when I started to broadcast softball. You got to wait.
You want them to be sure and consistent. It does make it a little tougher sometimes on the broadcasters up here.
Willits, another player who specializes in getting on base. 6th in SEC play in on-base percentage. Just a sophomore, Willits. And a nice freshman year.
Well, they leave a big hole over on that right side.
Willits hit 10 home runs as a true freshman last year for the conference champion.
And this is where you depend upon your pitcher to throw it where they want him to throw it so they don't get a ball that he can hit the other way.
Willits on the Brooks Wallace Award watch list, the award given to the outstanding shortstop in college baseball. Another up and away strikeout. 2 down.
Did he take something off of that one, or was it just a good location?
Maybe both.
No, it looks like a fastball. Yeah.
Yep.
Ball's got a little run going on. That he's had some running in early, and then this time, see Novi with that ball running everywhere tonight.
And now Kyle Branch, the Lucas, Texas native. People stirring in the Kentucky bullpen. Just getting ready to warm up, it looks like. There's Simon Gregerson. Off speed, just misses down. A dozen freshmen on this Oklahoma team for Skip Johnson.
Right now, I don't know if they're not picking the ball up well, but he's been able to get ahead and beat them with that fastball. It's just an 89 or 90. One of the reasons he's moving it up, down, in and out on the strike zone, but Dan Roselle's got him in a pretty good rhythm right now.
Branch has 2 home runs on the year. They both came in the same game against Georgia.
I'm betting it was at Georgia. What do you think? Or was it in Oklahoma?
Well, I beg your pardon. That was not Kyle Branch. That was Colby Branch of Georgia, who hit 2 home runs against Oklahoma.
Oh.
Boy, Gamble, aptly named. He's got that big lead over there. But Kyle Branch does have the 2 bombs this year, 8 doubles. Runner goes. That is hammered high, but not deep. There's Hage, and that'll do it. Leadoff man reaches for Oklahoma, but Novi retires the next 3, 4-3 Kentucky. Behave.
We should have him right up here, right behind us here
Yeah.
in this wonderful studio.
That's right. Devin Burks to lead things off. Mine would be bugging me to get out. She's gonna, like, why are we here? Let's get out of here. She'd spend the entire night. Jason Bowden is the new arm for the Sooners. You see the sophomore, another Texas native. And he jams Burks in a nice pickup by Willis, the third. And
Very
there's
nice.
one out. And here's the resume for Mr. Bowden, making his 25th appearance. Another pitcher, Doug, on this Oklahoma staff with a terrific strikeout to walk
Yeah.
ratio.
Obviously stressed very much from Skip Johnson, getting ahead of hitters, which they've been able to do, quality strikes. And you see, you let your defense do the work for you. If you can't strike everybody out, you pitch to contact, and their defense has played well.
The Wildcats put up that 4 spot in the 3rd, went down in order in the 4th, the 5th, essentially in the 6th, had a leadoff single erased on a double play, and now one out here in the 7th. And Tyler Bell not cheated on that last swing. 1 for 3 with a triple, a run scored.
Took a little something off
I
there.
was going to say, good off speed. Mississippi State had a lot of luck with breaking balls under his hands. See if that's where the Sooners go here.
And you can see he's herky-jerky action, probably tough to pick up the ball because he's compact, hides that ball, and then all of a sudden everything's coming at you at once.
Bowden, part of the staff that last Friday shut out Ole Miss. Hammered the other way, but it hangs up for Gamble. 2 out. Got a chance to barrel it a little bit.
You can't be disappointed when you sit back on a ball and you got 2 strikes and you hit it with authority like that. The amazing stat, he's only, in the whole season, only 1 game he hasn't been on base.
When it comes to total appearances, that young man leads the Sooners. We saw Jamie hit earlier. He's second on the lead on the team in appearances out of the pen. Lawrence goes the other way again. He has made a science of that all year long.
No, got off to a slow start, but you can see why this kid led his team in hitting last year. This year he's got it up, you know, he's flirting with 300 here now. And I mean, just solid right there. Ball's kind of in the middle of the plate. That's just a beautiful swing. Look how compact that is, balanced it is.
Had the double to left field down the line in the 3rd inning, drove in a run and scored, and now keeps the inning alive for Cole Hage, 2-run homer back in the 3rd inning. Just missed with a slider.
You notice that little gadget they got on pro games now? They'll tell you what the pitches are. We got to sit here and act like we know. But
I always wonder who keys that
uh,
in the production truck. They do a nice job.
well, since it's electronic, maybe they've already got it. Once
maybe,
they,
yeah.
if it's relayed to the pitcher, maybe it's relayed to somebody else. I don't know.
Bowden, a transfer from Texas A&M. Was an Aggie last year. Wildcats themselves have an A&M transfer. Robert Hogan transferred in last season, was a key to that run to Omaha. One of the Wildcats sidelined by injury right now. I had a chance to say hello to him down in the dugout pregame. Frustrating year for Hoagie.
You know, he did so well last year.
Straightaway center. That's walk. And that's the end of the 7th inning. On to the 8th, 4-3 Kentucky on the SEC Network. Baseball, Sam Christensen leading things off against Jackson Novi, pitching into his 3rd inning. Came on with 2 out in the 5th. He's given up a walk and a single. Christensen 3 for his last 21. Including a base knock, 2 base knocks against the Georgia Bulldogs a couple weekends back. They shift him to the right.
Oh,
And why not?
why not? You need a base runner. That's exactly
Kentucky has
right.
Basically abandoned the left side of the infield. Now Bell slides over. You see him closer to third base. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Novi gave up the single in the 5th inning. Brought home a run for Oklahoma. A walk in the 6th. And did give up an infield single in the 7th. Got him looking. 5th strikeout for Jackson Novi in the top of the 8th inning.
Boy, just froze him. Maybe had him looking off speed. Came him fastball on the inner part of the plate.
Well, we mentioned the SEC tournament comes up May 20th in Hoover, Alabama. A great week of baseball, and all 16 teams get in. Single elimination now, all the way through. If you're one of the top seeds 5 through 8, you get a bye. Top 4 teams get a double bye. A lot of fans still here. You see the berm, a popular spot. Mason Hamlin, base knocked back in the 2nd inning, was stranded. 1 for 3 on the night. You know, pitching's so vital in any conference tournament, but obviously in the SEC tournament. What a plus for Oklahoma to go in with the Witherspoon boys.
Yeah.
Inside out, there's McCoy again. And again, fielding his position nicely tonight.
But the thing about pitching, though, it can make everything look good. If you're struggling at the plate, but your pitching's pretty good, then you're still in the game. When you got 2 kids that they have, like in Witherspoon brothers, a long way over there, it looks like he's going to try to beat him. Novi does a good job of getting over to cover. But yeah, you're right. Because that offense is not going to be there every night, but you know your defense can be.
And that's a big ballpark. Hoover.
Yeah, I've heard you. I've not been, but I've heard you talk about it.
You know, great for pitching and defense. You can hit it out of there, at least somebody can. Not me, not you, but somebody can. But it's not impossible. But if you go in there thinking home run, it's not going to work.
Must be time to retire. That's my first hitting reference with Dick Gabriel.
Well, you've conditioned me
yeah, I know.
to understand your capabilities as a hitter versus as a Gold Glove defender.
That's a yes.
I mean, how long have I known you?
Facts is facts.
Hit hard. Cameron on the run. How about that? How about that? Griffin Cameron into the alley, steals extra bases. Fans of all ages appreciate it. Take another look as he gobbles up the ground. 3 up, 3 down. Nothing across for Oklahoma. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Kentucky 4, Oklahoma 3 on the SEC Network.
Gosh.
So the Wildcats trying to nail one down with a 1-run lead, and they have played in so many close games this year, so many heartbreakers. And not only did the Wildcats lead in those 21 games, they took the first lead in those 21 games. Now they need insurance with Carson Hansen leading off. Bowden's still on the bump for Oklahoma. Both bullpens quiet right now. Wildcats did all their damage in the 3rd inning. And in fact, as we mentioned earlier, after that inning, bats have gone a little quiet, just 2 hits, including 1 in the 7th inning with 2 out. Had 1 in the 6th erased on a nifty double play by Oklahoma. Hansen chasing, 3-pitch strikeout, 1 out.
Well, that's taking ownership of the mound right there. Just good old hardball, but it's going to come right after you. Here it is, in, bam. Go fast, the ball away.
Well, Skip Johnson going to his top 2 relievers, really, in terms of number of appearances, but hit, and then Bowden. And now Caius Gargett. Tyus 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts.
That's a pretty good hook right there.
Off the fist, Gargette's
He
got
can run.
speed. Just got him. Nicely done by Willits. 2 down. So Patrick Herrera will try to keep the inning alive. Led off the 6th with a base hit. Erased on the double play.
It was a nice play at shortstop. He's been solid, man. I like watching him play.
Herrera hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning.
Really haven't got a chance to see how loose that leg is yet, have we? I mean, grounded, he had to go into second base, but we didn't get to see him really turn it loose if it's okay. I got a feeling he wouldn't be playing if it wasn't pretty good. Oh, check this picture out.
That's
right
the
here.
way Patrick showed up at the Catesby Awards, where he was named Scholar Athlete of the Year. You got to love his shoes. Wore his baseball uniform and a tie and dress shoes. I've had the opportunity and the honor of hosting that a couple times through the years. And it's kind of like prom for the athletes. They love to dress up. Even the guys, it's not just the women dressing up. The guys obsess about what they're going to wear.
So who told him that that was the attire for the evening, I wonder?
I bet he made that decision on his own.
Okay.
Routine play ends the 8th inning. We'll go to the 9th. Kentucky 4, Oklahoma 3 on the SEC Network. Boone, well, we can help you out. That's our main game cameraman, Jack, getting it done.
Wow, that is
How
some kind
about
of
that?
Yeah.
It's not too bad. Oklahoma trying to work its way to the best shot it has in postseason play. And right now, the Sooners looking pretty good. Potential 2 seed, RPI, 22nd, strength of schedule, top 40, 15 wins against teams in the top 50 RPI. Right now, D1's got them going to Corvallis to take on an Oregon State team that, not the same ball club, of course, but Oregon State was here last year in the Super Regional, along with maybe UConn and Nevada. And a new arm for the Wildcats. We saw him working to warm up, I should say, Simon Gregerson. Transferred in from Indiana State. We'll try to nail this one down for the Wildcats.
Looks like a pinch hitter in the game, too. Is that Desan Harris?
It sure is. Sophomore from the bench of the Oklahoma Sooners, replacing Dawson Willis. There you see the senior from Elk River, Minnesota, looking to pick up his 2nd save. As a staff, the Wildcats have only 5. Gregerson can bring the smoke, but he falls behind 2-0.
Well, your job, right, to get this leading hit-off hitter. That's what you want to do. Make him, he's going to get on, make him earn it.
Also a defensive change for the Wildcats in right field, Sean Montoya. There's a strike delivered by Gregerson. Harris from Plano, Texas, just a sophomore. Plano, a suburb of Dallas. And he's 1 pitch away from doing his job, getting on base. Got 20 base hits on the year. Now it's full. Oh for 3 last Saturday against Ole Miss. It's actually Sunday in the loss to the Rebels. And does the job. Leadoff man reaches, tying run aboard.
He's had trouble throwing. He tried to come back with a 3-2 breaking ball, it looked like.
So this Kentucky team, as we showed you earlier, has been in so many close games, and it's had so much trouble nailing them down. And now has to face the top of the order with a man aboard, and Jason Walk, dangerous hitter. 298, 7 homers.
Wow.
And now Burks needs to talk to his right-hander. Last time up, Walk hit a screamer down the left field line, but Caius Gargett pulled it out of the air at third base, and with 2 outs and a man aboard, you got to figure that would have been an RBI double at least. But Gargett saved the day, and right now, that looks like the play of the game. One of several for the Wildcats, but Oklahoma with a lot to say about that. Gargett cheats in at third. Gregerson falls behind again. Top of the order getting it done, not so much the rest of the team. Walk had a base hit in the first inning.
Boy, he
Jumps on a 2-0 pitch.
that surprised me. He was swinging that time, but
Yep.
he got a pitch he liked. Of course, this kind of speed on the bases, he knows he gets one in the gap. They're in business.
Walk from Ackworth, Georgia. McCoy can only get one,
Man, nice play.
but the tying run moves to second with 1 out. McCoy's been a busy man defensively.
Every bit of that 6'4" height that time, too. Nice play. Thought about going to second, then realizes, no, we got to get the out.
So that brings up Trey Gamble with a tying run at second base and 1 out. Gregerson has been behind every hitter he's faced so far, and you see Gamble's had a big night.
That's what he's been trying to do. Fastball, he's been able to control a little bit better than that off speed that time. Was able to come back with something off. Now he can move it around and work some other stuff.
Came back with a fastball down and in. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You know, he's one of those pitchers that his ball runs a lot.
Yep.
And, you know, when he's able to kind of locate it down the middle, it'll either run away or run down, and it's got good movement. But
Just
you see
misses the outer edge.
he's struggling on every hitter so far. The
Yep.
bullpen gets active. Probably Evan Byers down in the bullpen.
Went 3 innings against Mississippi State last weekend and gave up 1 run.
Wow.
And on 3-1, pulls the string.
And that's what he tried to do a few minutes ago with 3-2, and he missed. So if you're up there trying to guess with him right now, you're in like no man's land. Oh, boy. Got the breaking ball. He got it up just a little, and good job fouling it off by Trey Gamble.
Nice grab.
And a maybe.
That 1 run he gave up against Mississippi State was the first run he had given up since March 29th at Texas A&M. 3-2. Go-ahead run reaches. Second walk of the inning. They just don't come easily to this
No,
Kentucky
they
team.
don't.
There's Cole Henschel getting loose.
The other lefty.
And Devin Burks will meet up with that young man, Dan Roselle, on the mound to talk to Gregerson. And Easton Carmichael will make his way to the plate. He had the big fly earlier for Oklahoma. This came way back in the third inning in the bright sunshine. Drove it the other way, and it looked like it was going to be a long out, but it just kept right on going. And cleared the wall here at Kentucky Proud Park.
You know, I think Hansen thought he had a beat on it all the time
yeah.
because he didn't try to get back to the fence and go up. But I think it just kept carrying and kept carrying.
Carmichael also had a single in the fifth inning. Came around and scored the third run of the game for the Sooners. So he's done a lot of damage tonight and can do even more with one out here in the top of the ninth inning. Cats need that double play. Starts him off with a big, slow bender.
And it's the best one he's thrown.
Of course, the man who just visited, calling the pitches in the dugout, Dan Roselle.
Wow.
Well, I missed somehow. 1 ball, 1 strike. And it looked like Carmichael was fooled by the pitch.
Yeah, that's a good breaking ball. I assume he called it high.
Got him to chase. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Crowd doing what it can. Two balls, 2 strikes. Steady diet of breaking balls. Another sharp slider, huge, out, 2 down.
So far, even though he is struggling a little bit with his control, he has not given in to hitters one bit. Man, that bottom falls out of that one. I don't know. That looked like a split finger or something right there. It's like you ask an umpire, what was that? I don't know, but it was a good one.
Sooners down to their last batter, Jackson Willits. He has walked 3 times tonight. Struck out his last time up. That was against Jackson Novi, the left-hander. Drew 3 walks from Nate Harris, the Kentucky starter. Got the inner edge. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tying run is at second base. Go ahead, run it first. Sooners down to their last strike. Crowd on its feet at Kentucky Proud Park. Wildcats 1 pitch away from opening a crucial series with a win. Gregerson nails it down.